We are now joined by the queen of SW19. If you don't know who that is, she is the owner of 59 Grand Slam titles. She has 20 Wimbledon titles, 9 of those in singles. Game, Set and Match is honored to welcome the one and only Martina Navratilova. Welcome.
Hello. My first interview ever on Skype.
That's fantastic. Martina, so good to have you. There's a lot we want to talk about, but first of all, the viewers would like to know, what is Martina Navratilova up to these days?
Well, as little as possible, but a little more than I want to be. No, seriously, I do a lot of commentary for Grand Slams for Tennis Channel. Here at Wimbledon, I'll be working with BBC as well, and a little bit for BT Sport in the UK. Do speeches around the world, and then not the least, certainly not last, but certainly not least, is my family. I got married last year, and my wife now has 2 girls. They're almost 14 and 10, so we have a busy household with all the animals and the girls and everything that entails. So at home, I do the grocery shopping and some cooking and taking care of the animals and a little bit of tennis. And on the road, I do everything else that I was talking about.
Fantastic. You touched on the commentary there with BBC. We know Andy Roddick's joining your team this year, and we know that he had a lot to say several years ago to Chris Fowler from ESPN about how easy it is to commentate.
Oh, right. I remember that, of course. Yeah, you guys have it easy. All I have to do is talk about it. It is much easier to talk about it, there's no doubt. But the repercussions can be greater also if you say the wrong things.
Yeah, no, we look forward to hearing Andy. I'm sure he'll have an opinion or two to keep it all exciting with John, yourself, Lindsay, and the rest of the crew.
No doubt.
Just a quick look back at the French Open. Just your thoughts on the amazing Stan the Pajama Man.
Yeah, that outfit, well, never mind. I won't talk about that. But his game was fantastic. The weather cooperated. He got through the first week when it was cold and rainy and low bouncy and heavy. And then when the skies cleared up and the sun went up and speeded up, he just hit his stride. And I don't think anybody expected him to play that well, including himself. But we've seen flashes of it. But to do it at such a level on clay, it's, as you know, it just takes so much more to win a point on clay. And it was just an amazing match that he played. Who knows how much Novak having to play the extra match really with Andy the day before when he never got a day's rest, that certainly didn't help. How much it hampered, we don't know, but it certainly didn't help. So Stan had a leg up and he took advantage of it. He might have won anyway, probably would have won anyway, the way he played, but fantastic match, and now he's going to be a contender at SW19 as well.
That match that he played in the quarterfinals against Roger, I mean, one of the best performances in a major.
I would say I didn't see enough of that. I do know that Roger never broke serve. This is the only match he ever lost where he never broke serve. Didn't have that many opportunities. I believe he had 4 break points for the whole match. And Stan just, when the ball bounces high or even without, I mean, he can handle the one-handed backhand better than Roger because he's got a higher strike zone on that backhand. So he can handle that shot. That's why he was able to beat Nadal as well with the one hand. He's okay up there. And Roger played a great French Open. I mean, he played a really great tournament, but ran into Stan. Who knows? But you still have to see Roger as because of that. Roger is in the conversation, of course, at Wimbledon as well. But Stan just played better and better, and the pressure wasn't on him, which helps, and he came through.
Your thoughts on Serena winning her 20th Grand Slam singles title? I mean, that puts her in a different category.
Amazing stuff. I mean, she had an iffy last year, quote unquote iffy. She only won 1 slam, but then won the US Open and then won the season-ending championships as well. Ended up number 1 and hasn't looked back since. She's clearly found a way to win when it matters the most, which is the Grand Slams. The rest of the tournaments, she kind of uses them as warm-ups. If she loses, it doesn't bother her at all at any level. If she doesn't feel 100% ready to play, she defaults. She's done that twice this year. If she's not ready to play, she doesn't play. And then the slams, she's obviously 100% ready. And even when she's not playing her best or when she's not feeling at her best, she's still head and shoulders above everybody else. I mean, she won 5 3-set matches at that French Open. but she gets into the final set, and players play worse, and she plays her best, and that's a bad combination for the rest of the field. So just she has such a will to win, and of course the ability that goes with it. And there's just no competition for her right now, unfortunately. Fortunately for her, unfortunately for women's tennis, it's always better when you have rivalries, when you have a more of a suspension going into a final. But the only people I really see beating Serena are players in the first week before she hits her stride in the Grand Slam. Once she gets into the second week, she's been unbeatable.
Just looking, before we look at Wimbledon, let's just talk a little bit about the grass. In the days when you were still playing your singles, let's call it your first career, if you like, pre-37 and all those singles titles, the way the grass has changed from then till your comeback, in your 40s, and to the way it's changed to today. And we see different styles of tennis, obviously winning. The serve and volley has taken a bit of a back step. Just give us your thoughts on the grass and how it's changed.
Well, big back step to serve volley, to even coming to the net. You're really coming in, and people are hitting swinging volleys on their first volley rather than a normal volley, and it's dictated by the surface. I think they've slowed it down too much. I think the rallies were too short. Now they're too long in my mind, or not even that they're that long, but it's from the baseline. People are not looking to come to the net really because they're sitting ducks up there, and that's because the ball is bouncing much higher and a little bit slower. I don't know how much slower it's bouncing, but it's definitely bouncing much, much higher, which then makes the surface slower. The lower the bounce, the quicker it is, even if it doesn't bounce that much further, but it's or that much less far. It's much quicker when it bounces lower. So you have to slice the heck out of it to get the ball to stay low, and even then it still just comes through, and it just makes it that much more difficult to come to the net. If I was playing now, I would have to find a way to come to the net. I couldn't just serve and volley on everything. I would have to pick and choose, maybe serve and volley about 50%, maybe a little more, depends. Hardly ever on the second serve. And chip and charge, it just doesn't work. You have to set it up. We'll be looking around to hit a forehand much more and coming on killer shots of the forehand side. So I think they've slowed it down too much, and there's just that much less. People can be aggressive from the baseline, and they don't have to worry about people coming in and taking the net away from them, because it's just so much easier to hit ground strokes with these rackets and strings, and the courts being that much slower.
All right, let's take a look at the championships coming up. Andy Murray wins his 4th at Queen's, and he's sticking to his 9-11, 13-15, so look out in 2017. Rafa wins in Stuttgart to claim a grass court title there. Roger wins his 8th in Halle, and Jongh just decides to take a holiday. Your thoughts on the field? Of course, you just mentioned it. If Stan plays that kind of tennis, I guess he's dangerous on any surface. Just how do you rate those favorites, and who do we look out for?
Yeah, I think the low man on the totem pole, amazingly enough, is Rafa Nadal, because he's just been slipping in the rankings. His confidence has probably never been lower since he's been on the tour, and that, as you know, plays such a big part in how you play, especially the way he strikes the ball. He really has to have all the conviction behind it. And when some of that doubt is in there, it's he hits that forehand shorter and shorter, and it just doesn't pay off for him. But biggest thing I see, I mean, size-wise, he just looks is smaller, but he's serving. He's just getting the serve in. He's serving like he did when he first came on the tour, just sliding it in. Then in the guts of it, when he was winning everything, he was going for big serves. Now, to me, he's just sliding it in again, not getting any free points or as many as he used to. And he has to work so much harder on his serve that physically it's wearing him down. And he plays such a physical game. So it's going to be hard for him to get even to the semis. Being seed where he is, he could play Novak or Roger in the round of 16. So difficult, really, situation for him. I hope he finds his way. Love to watch him play. Wawrinka, still pressure not on him because he's never even been to a semifinal, I think. Certainly not been in a final of Wimbledon, so pressure's not on him, even though he won the last slam. But if the weather is nice and dry, or if they play indoors, I think he should like that. Although if once they close the roof, I think the biggest recipient of that would be Roger Federer, as we know. He's the best player indoors there is, that maybe there ever was. Novak, I'm surprised he didn't play anything. He must have been really disappointed not after losing the final, coming so close again to completing his career slam. I would have liked to have seen him to play the middle of the week to get some matches in on the grass, but 3 out of 5, he kind of has the way he plays and the way the grass plays, you can kind of play your way into the tournament. So I'm sure he'll be match tough. So he still has to be a favorite, being the defending champion. And Roger, if he hits his stride and the draw works out his way, it's so easy to see him in the final. And once you're in the final, this is definitely his best chance to win a slam. And I think he knows how to use this court, the grass, to his advantage better than anybody else. He's got the best slice out there. And then one last, against at least Andy Murray must feel pretty good about how he's playing. According to him, he's playing the best tennis ever. He seems more relaxed after getting married and having great results on the clay. Now he won Queens. He's healthy. He's happy. Everything's kind of lining up for him. So again, fantastic. It's going to be a fantastic tournament. I think we'll see the big guns there. In the quarters. Women's field much more wide open, as has been the case pretty much the last 10 years. The men much more predictable, but who's going to win? Extremely unpredictable.
Okay, so we assume Serena makes the second week, and I fully agree with you. She has to lose in the first week, otherwise she's the favorite by a mile, and it's almost for her to lose. Sharapova's got to be in the mix somewhere if she serves well and the forehand is firing. Kvitova cannot be ignored. I mean, she's won the title twice in the last 3 years. Kind of under the radar. People forget about it, but she's obviously a good player on grass. Is there anyone else that we should be looking at? Maybe a Madison Keys or someone who can mix it up, or are they just not there yet to take the big step?
Madison Keys certainly was there last year. She was in the conversation, and then after the semifinals of the Australian Open, very much in the conversation, but she just went out very meekly in Eastbourne, which she won last year. Same time, she'll be fresh for Wimbledon. Last year she won Eastbourne, but she was so beat up, she ended up defaulting at Wimbledon. So kind of good news, bad news. Bad news is you lost, but good news, you're fresh and not injured. So to me, she's got the biggest game and maybe biggest possibility. Yeah, it's hard to see, like Muguruza, she's best on clay, although she's got a nice game coming through. Angelique Kerber has had a great spring, really, winning in Stuttgart and now winning last week in Birmingham. She must feel pretty good about her game. But I think the big hitters, the top 3, it's hard to look past them. And Sharapova clearly needs help, somebody beating Serena, since she hasn't done that since 2004. Kvitova, again, also kind of in the Serena field, in that if she gets into the second week, she's very much a threat, but she's been so up and down, not just within a tournament, but within a match. She goes, she'll win 4 games on the trot, and then she'll lose 4 games on the trot. So you never know which Petra is going to show up.
All right, just a quick word from your side, maybe on South Africa's Kevin Anderson. He's had a great 18 months or 2 years. He's made the 4th round consistently on all the majors, and he, with his final last week, beating Stan and then losing to Andy Murray in the final, he's made it to a career high 14. Big server, and we'd like to think that he could do some damage at Wimbledon again.
Oh, absolutely. He's been working on his game very hard, I know, and has improved his mobility. He was really, really slow, which is of course much more difficult for the tall guys. They have a lot of luggage to move around, so to speak. But now the ball's bouncing higher on the grass. The serve will still pay off. He doesn't have to bend that low to hit those low balls. And everything's been improving, particularly his ground strokes, volley game, mobility most of all. And that serve will pay off. So, Kevin, on a given day, he can beat anybody, and he knows that. Just a matter of stringing those matches back to back. That's the tricky bit. Anybody can get lucky once or have a great match. Can you do it again 2 days later? But he's been improving his game, and I know I wouldn't want him in my side of the draw if I was playing on the men's tour.
Yeah, that's probably the feeling all round. Martina, before we let you go, we're going to put you on the spot. We want a men's winner, we want a ladies winner, and then we want the over 45 ladies doubles winner.
You mean over 55? Yeah, I think the Novak Serena double would be a good bet. Would have been a good bet at the French. I think it's still a good bet here. Um, but you never know. I mean, that's why we keep coming back. But odds on, those two are going to come through. And the doubles, of course, I have to go with Davenport. No, I'm just kidding. Navratilova and Spar. We were in the finals last year, but I think we're ready to go one step further this year. Although we're not getting any younger, but can still move okay. So we'll see.
Martina, thank you so much for joining us and enjoy the championships.
Anytime, Michael. Thanks. Bye.